What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Coast to Coast Traders Podcast. I'm Joe.
And I'm Robbie.
What's up, Robbie? How are you, man?
I'm good. Good to see you. We both played a little hooky last week, and so we uploaded a random after hours of ours.
Yes, we did.
But now we're back at it.
That's right. I appreciate that. I was took the wife away for a weekend up in Sugarloaf. It's beautiful up there. So anybody who skis, like, it's even beautiful. Like in the summertime, we walk some trails, got some great pictures. Might even end up in a commercial. So it'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah. Played some moose pong.
That's right, moose pong. Yeah, because I can't type. I just type pong instead of pond. But yeah,
Yeah, that was a beautiful photo.
Dude, it's crazy how gorgeous that photo is. I'll try to prop that up here real quick because this is like crazy. But what's interesting about that is that doesn't come up on Google Maps or Apple Maps. Like if I look up moose.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and like the only reason that we knew to find it was that it was on like these like trails.
Yeah.
Here, I'll send it to you. So pull it up easy. It was on like this trail map. So like there was this is the picture we're talking about right here. This is Sugarloaf in the background right here. So this is Moose Pond, and yeah, we just had like the trail maps or whatever, and like no roads are labeled or anything. And I'm like, wait a second, we're roughly like in this area. Figured out where we were, and like this was like in walking distance, and this is a sweet view. And we tried to go here at night, but both of the nights we were up there were cloudy because we didn't know until after the first night. So the second and third night were really cloudy. But apparently, like the Milky Way galaxy will like rise up here, and you can like, because it's so dark and so clear, you can like see the galaxy kind of like move over through the night sky. It's like, I was like, damn.
Oh, I love that, man. Yeah. I've been looking to go to a really like secluded lake, something place far away from the city lights.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah. Fun fact: I actually took astronomy in college as a class, and it was actually pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So what do we
got on the agenda this week, man?
We have a huge week ahead of us, right? What do you want to start with? I mean, we got earnings all week, but we got FOMC on Wednesday. So, what do you think?
I think let's do it with the news first because I think that's a little bit more boring.
Okay.
And then because I think our conversation on the earnings will be a little bit better than that.
Okay. All right. So the FOMC news. We also got. What is Jolts Tuesday, right? Actually, I should just pull up. I can just pull up the Forex Factory link. So yeah, we got Jolts on Tuesday and consumer confidence. Then ADP, non-farm employment, advanced GDP on Wednesday, and then FOMC, core PCE on Thursday. Yep, and unemployment, and then non-farm payroll, the legit one, 8:30 Friday. So and ISM manufacturing. Oh my god, dude, it's gonna be a week.
Yeah, did you see the links I sent you for the poly market?
Yeah.
To look up.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
I thought I sent them to you, but apparently I posted them in my personal channel.
All right. All good. So what do we got here? So what will Powell say during July press conference, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of odds that he'll say inflation 40 plus times. So, if you want to bet against that, you had a pretty good win to loss ratio or risk to reward ratio.
For real. I've never watched any of his speeches and thought to like count something like this, but imagine turning this into a drinking game and just you'd be obliterated before the market closed.
Yeah, I don't know what would be worse, seeing how often Powell says inflation or how many times I say during a freaking podcast. So if you guys want to try it out, drink responsibly, but if you let me know how many.
Yeah, you might want to do like shots of beer. Do shots of beer instead of shots of liquor, because otherwise you're gonna be under the table pretty quick.
You're gonna die.
Yeah, you're gonna die. So, yeah, I mean, I can see he does say these things a lot, like uncertainty. What is this? Good afternoon. Obvious spike, recession, all that stuff. So, that's what he'll say, and then Fed decision. What does this one say? So there's nearly 100% chance of no change?
I mean, he's been pretty consistent with his message the last couple of times about not wanting to.
Bro.
Despite Trump's, incessant nagging. And it's just funny to me because we've talked periodically about Trump wanting to get rid of Powell
Hmm.
and various rumors saying that he may resign and stuff. And I kind of fell for it a little bit. I think it was on Wednesday, maybe Thursday. I forget. There was some post by a notable YouTuber,
Yes,
but it ended
yes.
up being very, very, very fake. Because if you look at the actual image, whatever the seal image on the lower left was, it was complete gibberish.
Yeah, like when you, yes, that's
So
what happens when you put something to Chat GPT. It doesn't want to like actually write the text sometimes. It makes like weird symbols,
mhm.
and you get like a bunch of different alphabet symbols from different languages, you know, like Greek letters and random Russian letters all in mixed in there, mumble jumbled. So,
Yeah, so as soon as like I imagine as soon as that person found out, like they pulled the post because it was they removed it pretty quickly.
as they should. I mean, it was very,
Yeah,
very misleading. Um,
yeah, for sure.
so the odds of a 25 basis point decrease are only 4% on Polymarket. What do you think?
Man, I want to have a rate cut because I feel like that would make things go burr, but I'm not a smart person, I guess, I'm not getting paid to make this decision, so what do I know? I'm an idiot.
Hard to make it go burr any more
I
than it
just
is, right?
I just reap the consequences of what our overlords do, and I pay it at the register.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I feel very similar. Like I feel like I want to hear that there's a cut, but I think what we're witnessing in live action here is the ever growing egos of two old men who are in the
Yeah,
most prestigious roles that they're going to have in their lifetime, and it is literally like, as they say, when an immovable object meets an unstoppable force, right? Because they're just like,
100%.
Trump is just trying to be this unstoppable force with the market and tariffs and like, you know, this, go, 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 go. And,
Right.
and, you know, Powell is just like, we're staying right here, buddy. Well,
Yeah, don't care.
but
Go
the,
suck an egg.
the truth is though, like, I know I say that, but at the end of the day though, Powell is also only one member of the 12 that vote. So,
Right.
obviously I'm sure he leads discussions, but
I would think he's got some sway.
yeah,
If he was really interested in going one way or the other, he'd probably say, "Hey guys, this is why," and I'm sure his opinion would count quite a bit.
for sure. I wonder too if it's like, do the 12 people like really get to vote? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
you know how those things can be. So
Right, right.
I guess
Yeah, for sure.
we're gonna wait and see, right? We got 3 days to find out. So, but I think we're both in agreement. We want to see a cut, but we don't think there will be a cut.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right, all right,
So if we're right, cool.
yeah,
If we're wrong, it doesn't matter.
right. If we're wrong, cool. We'll just
Yeah.
play the price action. It's been a while since we've had a cut, and it'll be interesting to see too, like if we have a cut, what the price action brings, because like, is that priced in? You know what I mean? Or
hmm
if we get a 25 basis point cut, does the market kind of react negatively or flat to it because they're hoping for more? So, I mean, the market's at all time
Well, the last
highs.
rate cut was about a year ago in September,
Okay.
and if I think the key thing is how big the rate cut might be. I hear what you're saying about it could be priced in, but the thing is they've been kicking this can down the road for so long. At some point, the price like the priced in nature of it kind of goes away, in my opinion, because like it's just so uncertainty. It's like gambling almost, where you just all right, one more time at this slot, and then I'm gonna be right. One time at this slot, and then how many people have sustained the trade, for so long, hoping for it to go and rip or something, or how many of them have maybe pulled out or had a more conservative position
Right.
and a wait and see approach.
Right. And if we look at, because I believe the core PCE is actually the Fed's preferred measurement of inflation, right? I mean, because we look at CPI, but you know June was slightly up over forecast, right? May was like pretty much in line. April was basically saying flat, under forecast. March was over
Mm-hmm.
forecast. So it's kind of like just sitting there in that month over month. And then I think what's the easiest way of looking for it? Where's CPI? Here we go. Here's CPI. So then I can look at like previous data. July was basically flat. June was under. May was under. And this is saying that this went down in April. So this is under. So it's CPI keeps coming in under as well.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the market gapping up overnight?
What do I think about I think we should look at it, dude. That's what I think we should
Yeah,
do.
we have basically a 70-point gap up, 116 at the high, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of wondering if we're going to fill this gap or maybe retest the previous day high, some level around there. I would imagine maybe not tonight, but maybe in the morning. I would expect something like that to happen.
Hmm.
But was there an earnings that I'm unaware of that would have caused us to? Because I mean, if the earnings was responsible, we would have gapped up Friday, right? Or not gapped up, but at least made a pretty big rally.
Yeah, there were no major earnings on Friday. This is just solely driven by the fact that the EU and the United States reached a tariff deal.
Ah, right. Okay, I had forgotten about that.
Yeah. So
There may have been a couple of other nations as well, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm confusing things, but now that you mentioned it, I think I saw some posts in various places where it's like EU was the primary, but there was maybe some others as well. I'm not sure.
yeah, there was some talk about China agreed to an extension of the pause or something like that while they continue to negotiate their final terms. I
Okay.
think so. I mean, but I don't know. Like, I feel like I don't know how much that one actually really matters because it's just like, okay, so that's more of the same. Whereas like the EU deal is like something concrete and it came out as like favorable. I think that I read just a moment ago. It's the EU agreed to a 15% on tariffs on automobiles, semiconductors, and pharmaceuticals. So
Yeah, pretty key industries.
yep, yeah, and honestly, that's a big deal, right? Because we're currently, not charging them tariffs or not, experiencing tariffs on like high-end vehicles, right? Your BMWs, your Mercedes, things that are getting
Right.
imported, right? So, yeah, very interesting.
Time
Very
will
interesting.
tell. Yeah.
Time will tell. Yeah, but I
What do
think,
you say we switch over to earnings in a second?
yeah, for sure. And just if anybody is wondering, right? Obviously, purple line's VWAP. This is the session low here, the light blue, and this is the 5 EMA. This is the 5 Ripster's 512 Cloud 20 EMA. So I would say too, just like reading this price action really quickly, I thought that like going into Friday's close, we would have a gap up because of when the algo that kicks on 10 minutes before the close pushed us down to VWAP, and then like you can barely see it here, but we wicked under this algo candle here after 4 o'clock and started moving up strongly and closed, relatively speaking, near the highs. I was like, oh yeah, like we're not gonna just spill off from there. Like the buyers just ate that up really quickly. We're gonna pop. So
Yeah, I agree. It felt like just like a last minute little sneaky rug pull.
yeah, yep,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and this was actually like a crazy move too, man. Like I don't, I didn't have intentions of like talking about a lot of price action, but I've seen this a lot where if we get like this like bounce into a key level, if this candle like wicks under the prior one and they start buying this back up, like that's it. Like it's over. Like there's no short retracement. You know what I mean? It's
Oh, right.
they bought that dip. Like because it's like every dip is getting bought up.
Yeah, for sure.
So but yeah, let's go into earnings, right? So we got a bunch of earnings this week. Bunch of earnings, right? So Apple's first. But you want to talk about where you get your earnings info from?
I'm not subscribed anywhere in particular. I usually just follow various people on X, and they're usually posting earnings whispers.
Yep.
So that's typically what I'm following. But you were telling me about this app that you found. How long have you been using it, and what's it called?
It's called Earnings Hub. I've been using it, or I've had it for like maybe like a month now. And I've just been like playing around with it. So it's got a lot of different settings. It makes it like pretty user friendly, especially just as not like for playing earnings, but just like being able to like set up a watch list too, because then you know what has earnings this week, and a lot of the earnings plays have really good activity like the day or the two after, right? Like if you look at Tesla this past week,
Yeah.
Tesla had earnings, and disregard this is like my everything in this under the sun is drawn on here, but uh Tesla had earnings, right? It dropped considerably. Um, really mediocre price action here, but the most important thing was seeing 300 hold, and then it pushes
Yeah,
up,
for
makes a
sure.
distinct higher low here, like very distinct higher low here, sitting on top of all of this price action, and then pushed up into the close, and then came back down, but still closed the daily candle with a decent wick on the bottom of it, right? And then I wanted to watch it, and I just whiffed it on Friday, honestly. But once it closed here, you had the gap up on Friday from here, Thursday's close to Friday, and then dude, just like it breaks over the previous high. It retests the 10-minute 200 and the pre-market high right here. EMAs are coming up strong, and this thing just ripped, man. This is like almost 310. It ripped up like $13. Pretty good trade.
I know a friend who was a little eager to get into Tesla with commons, just
Mm-hmm.
some shares. So he bought a couple of days before earnings, and I was just kind of giving him my opinion on it because we were talking about how much potential robotaxi AI stuff might be priced in
Mm-hmm.
versus other stuff and car deliveries and things like that. And then I also shared him a video of somebody who I respect that I felt they gave a really solid overview after multiple people what their thesis on Tesla was. And so unfortunately when the earnings came out it did gap down like you showed. But I was just saying to him, well, I understand. I mean, this is for you an investment, right? So obviously your intention is to hold for many, many, many months. So the good sign was that we held 300,
Yep.
and it's nice. Yeah, I'm sure he's probably a little bit more relieved, even though it's still considered a long investment. Like I'm sure he's a little relieved to see that bounce the next day.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And also, that's the daily 200 EMA, which a lot of times gets used for like what institutional investors and stuff like that.
Yep.
So that was a big one. I mean, at some point we got to do I got to do some of my own videos or just get some more information out there. But you know how always mark the gaps from like the close to the open, and dude, like I was in chat on Friday, like literally calling out the 324 area as an area of major concern because it literally hits right off of that golden zone of the gap, and then
Yeah, really solid there.
that's where high of day was, and it trickled pretty far back down.
hmm
So, but if it continues to hold and it holds in this area and it starts to curl back up, I think the next time it tests there, it'll probably break up a little bit, rebase here because it's a large gap, and then essentially it might be a quick base if nothing, just a pullback before it breaks over and reclaims it. But long,
Yeah.
I know it's not like financial advice by any means, but long term, I can't help but be bullish with the robo taxi and the you know.
Yeah, I agree. But are there any of these going back to the earnings whispers, if you can,
Yeah.
like, were there any on that list that you're either holding or that you kind of watch on a regular basis besides like the Mag 7?
Besides the Max 7 on here,
Yeah, because I mean, I know we're all typically watching those in general.
yep, Starbucks being one.
hmm
Boy, I wish I had Spotify looking at that chart. Uh, Cheesecake Factory, which recently just hit all-time highs. I'm like 99% sure about that. I think the ticker is cake. Yep.
hmm
Yep, Cheesecake Factory recently hit an all-time high of $69, 69.7. Damn, dude.
Yeah.
Just one penny too high. That could have been 69.69. Have been perfect for the memes.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, outside of the Mag 7 on this list, I don't think so.
So ARM, you mentioned ARM as a strong one earlier, and I
Yeah.
think there could be some pretty good sympathy with other semiconductors with ARM.
Okay.
So maybe it's TSMC, AMD, Intel, Nvidia. You
Yeah.
might see, depending on how the ARM moves. ARM and Qualcomm in particular, I would say
Yep.
those might move together.
Qualcomm's got a really crappy looking chart. If I remember correctly, it was CCOM, right? Yeah.
Yeah, QCOM.
Yep. Yep. So, oh, I remember this. So, this right here where it says potential stop. Do you remember when can't remember who it was in the chat. Somebody shared like this like massive call flow for like a year and a half out on Qualcomm.
I might have remembered something like that. I
Yeah.
mean, we see quite a few people posting flow stuff, so I don't particularly remember all of them, but yeah, we've seen some things like that for sure.
Yeah, so I just put in like remember when it happened, like I remember saying like, well, if you took that same call flow, like would this be your potential stop? That's what I ended up like putting. That's why that says potential stop there, but this thing didn't.
Yeah.
This thing hasn't done anything, right? And so whoever sold those calls is up considerably.
Right.
But yeah, this chart hasn't done much. But dude, you never know, man. I mean, because like look at how look at how AMD looked, and it's up like $100 a share in what 3.5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else that you're holding on this list?
I'm holding Roblox.
Okay.
And Amazon.
Okay.
But one that's really interesting to me is Visa and MasterCard.
Okay.
There's probably not an American that doesn't use Visa or MasterCard.
Yep.
Most people have, at least anybody that has a bank account that has a debit card or any credit card, it's most likely going to be Visa or MasterCard.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something that came out and kind of stirred up the gaming community recently where they changed their terms of service that basically said that they're going to be removing games from the store that kind of go against the rules or like guidelines of their payment processor, namely Visa and MasterCard.
Okay.
And this is a very slippery slope because this is America. It's supposed to be the land of the free.
That's right. Home of the
And
brave.
so if you have exactly, and if you have payment processors that are basically refusing to do business with you if you're not following their particular code of conduct or whatever their vague set of morality is, then you're out. And in my view, if it's not illegal, then there should be no reason to disallow taking payments from whatever business, even if I personally don't just agree with whatever that business sells.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you know of any games specifically that were removed? Anything that like people would know?
I don't know specifically. I just saw some headlines on some YouTubers that I follow that are kind of doing news on a pretty regular basis.
Okay.
So I'm not sure that there's been any like significant like AAA anything like that that's been removed. Like
Okay.
a Call of Duty, that would be insane if something like that was to happen. Even non gamers would have heard of that, I'm sure.
Okay.
So it's just a slippery slope. It's setting a bad precedent, I believe. So it's just one of those situations where yeah, it's not affecting me yet, but it could very easily affect us in the future.
Okay, gotcha. That's like especially with like everything just being digital now. That's really concerning. You know?
Yeah, because you buy a game on these marketplaces, it's like you said, it's digital.
Mhm.
So if you don't have internet access, eventually you won't be able to play that because your console or your computer typically has to phone home to say, "Hey, did you pay for this game?"
Right.
And if they can't phone home, they can't validate your license.
Right. Right.
So unless there's like an offline mode, and there are games that have offline modes, but it's just kind of sucks because we've heard the phrase quite often, somewhat recently, that you'll own nothing and be happy. And I don't know anybody who's happy about it.
No. No, for
Yeah.
sure. That's yeah, that's deep. That's very concerning. But could also be very good for American Express and Discover. You know what I mean? Like so there's opportunity everywhere, right? If
Oh, that reminds me. I could have sworn somebody just purchased Discover Card.
no, didn't I thought
Why?
Didn't Discover do something with Wells Fargo?
Capital One Discover Card merger.
Oh,
That's what it was.
oh, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Capital
because
One.
Capital One, I think they do Visa, Mastercard, but I would imagine now with this whole situation, they're probably going to be leaning heavy into Discover for all of their new card issuance, and then maybe they'll phase prior customers out. Because you know how that if you've ever signed up for like a department store credit card, like a Home Depot or whatever, Macy's
Mm-hmm.
or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
it might be Visa, Mastercard,
Mm-hmm.
but or Walmart even, and then like maybe some months later, it says something like, "Oh, we've done this and that," and now you all of a sudden you went from having a Mastercard to a Visa or
Yes.
something.
Yes. Yes. I do remember this. Yep. I've seen this happen
Yeah,
before.
so
I can't remember exactly the company or the card or whatever, but yeah.
yeah, so I could see that happening with Discover, coming up. We probably should have talked about that a while ago. I think it just slipped my mind and I didn't put it in the notes, but I've been meaning to talk about it.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's one to follow up for me. And so also with the Visa Master earnings, we could see sympathy in those people as well.
Definitely. Definitely
Capital
something
One.
yeah, definitely something for us to circle back to. Um
Yeah.
what I was gonna say is back to just using this app that I have here. I would highly
Hmm.
recommend that people, if you're interested in it, you can download it for free. When when you're in it, you can actually do some adjustments to the settings, right? So these are the key settings. You can sort the earnings list by popularity. Confirm dates only is a setting I have checked just because like sometimes companies don't have a date or they'll adjust their date.
Yeah.
And then you can have it show you IPO events, Fed events, economic events, etc. And then you can adjust the market cap um, to show you just like certain tickers, right? So if you don't really care about maybe smaller companies or medium-sized companies, you want to look at the earnings for larger companies, you can adjust it like very quickly and just go back and forth with it. And then once you're in the app, like this is what it looks like. It asks you like sign in or create. And like looking at Wednesday, it gives you, so there's an IPO. It gives you like the major news for the day, right? Like obviously in order, right? This being the biggest one, and then this being here, and then crude.
And that's pretty sweet that you don't have to sign in to actually even view this.
No, yeah, you
It's
don't.
very customer forward.
Yeah, you really do. And then like either there's other features to it that I think you have an advantage to being signed in and like having your watch list, etc. But
Sure.
it's pretty cool that I think like here's after close on Wednesday, right? So it's going to be a star-studded day, right? I mean,
Hmm.
just look at all these companies. Um and then when you like click on if you click on one of these companies, like I clicked on Microsoft, so it gives you like an earning hub score of, it gives you like a D, right? And so that just evaluates like the PE, the PS, right? The revenue, etc. And so like you can just like dive into this more and get like a breakdown of it. So I looked through like different ones and was just trying to see, what is an example of a company that gets like an A score. And it had a really, really low price to earnings ratio, and it was like, beating on revenues, et cetera, et cetera. So it's almost kind of like here's a cheap stock that might be like potentially undervalued, where like looking at Microsoft right now, I think what it's saying is it's kind of giving it a D value based off of like revenue, earnings per share, and the price to earnings, the price to forward earnings, etc. Because Microsoft is so like up there now. It just keeps like, I think even on Friday, actually, I think it broke all-time highs. So,
Dude, she's one of the other ones that got away, isn't she?
oh, bro, like, yeah, let's look at this thing, man.
It's
Where's,
crazy how we had that gnarly dip and then it had a gap up and then see you later, guys.
yeah, yeah. I mean, this was the day that they announced the pause on tariffs, right? And the famous "now is a good time to buy," and it came
Hmm.
back down almost all the way there, probably really spooking people out. And that was
Yeah.
it, man. That was it. Gapped up, really strong day. Holding, holding, holding. Here's your pullback after the 9 and 12. For a lot of people do daily 9 and 12 EMA cross. Like that was your buy signal, and you have not had a sell signal the entire way through. It's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's pretty remarkable, that one.
Yeah. Yeah, and like where my price is hovering right now is 385. So it's like 100 and what, $30 plus per share. The interesting thing though is if we go down to a smaller time frame and we look at like using pre-market data, not only did it make a new all-time high on Friday, right over like RTH, which doesn't show up on the daily, which is what shows up on the daily candle, but this was a pre-market high on the 18th. So on Friday the 18th in pre-market, it hit this 518 and it wicked over that too and then rejected hard. So I'm not saying like it's just going to head down, but I just found that to be interesting that it broke over like the RTH all-time high right here. And then it continued on to the pre-market, like after hours all-time highs at 518.07, broke that and then just rejected and closed back under the previous RTH all-time high. So we'll see what happens.
I'll be watching this one for sure.
Yeah.
But no FOMO here. There's going to be always another opportunity to add those positions later on.
That's right.
The next crash, dollar cost average.
That's right. That's right.
But I'm trying to rein in my FOMO these days, so it is what it is.
I feel you, dude. I feel you. Sometimes I look at some of these daily charts and I think, oh my God, dude. If I would have just did this.
Yeah. But you did play bull, didn't recently, right?
Yeah.
So you got a really sick move on that one.
Yep, I've done pretty well with bull. I've scaled a lot of it out. I still got a bunch, but yeah, I caught this like low, dude, like low in here. So yeah, I'm writing out some bull calls. I think this one has some. I know here's the IPO highs of 79, and it's got some potential if it's got to break over and base on this. In my opinion, really can keep moving up, and it did reject that, but yeah, we'll see what happens with bull. Could go hood.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Who else has earnings this week? We've got Apple, right? What do you think about this Apple weekly? Like if we go like higher time frame, let's do the monthly. Think about this.
Apple monthly. I still like it long. We had that crazy wick in April, and we're back over some key levels.
Yep.
And I think it still looks pretty solid to push up.
Yep. I think so too. I think that I personally, I have no information to back this, so it is just a completely fringe theory. But everything with Apple's been quiet. There's been no news. There's been no nothing, right? You don't hear anything. NVIDIA,
they've been a little lackluster, in my opinion.
Yeah, NVIDIA, you hear about this chip. There's always something. And then, like, Apple's just been quiet. So I'm just, like, literally waiting for Apple to just say, like, hey, we're doing this, and this sucker just takes off.
Yeah. Well, 210 has been pretty solid, just looking at the weekly, even. It's hard to say. It just looks a little curly to me. But on the other hand, if we look back to, like, last September and June, we're kind of, like, under that prior resistance turned into support. So 220 probably the level to want to see us close over to be like, okay, yeah, for sure, we're going higher. But of course, from an investment perspective, Apple's been a really great company. They pay dividends.
Yep.
I don't imagine they're going to go to zero anytime soon. So, not financial advice, but probably not a bad one to keep in your portfolio.
No, I agree. And then the same thing, looking at this gap here, as you have on 4-2. This was the day they rolled out, or Trump rolled out his tariffs, right? Here was this gap down. We've rejected off of the golden zone, and then now we've held the EMAs. We're holding a rising trend here, back pushing again into this golden zone and not getting sharp rejections out of it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us just jump over the gap and then go. So I have these areas like, as the areas of big watch on my normal drawing sets, and I'm really watching that 223.8, 223.5, just in this general area to see what happens. Because that would be something that really squeezes people out, in my opinion, and gets some momentum going, because I'm sure that looking at these upper wicks and stuff here, there's a lot of selling. There was a lot of selling pressure and interest up here.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very curiously watching that.
The last one for me is Where was it? Roblox.
Oh yeah, RBLX.
Yeah, because I've been holding that one for quite a while now, actually. And it's one of those. It's a kids game, and I don't like I hadn't heard of it really. And then my my little stepsister started, talking about it a whole bunch. And then I looked it up online, and there's like all kinds of kids playing it. And it's one of those bizarre games I still don't fully understand, but you can do a lot of different things in it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they sell cash cards, you know, and so when you have kids that have access to smartphones, and sometimes you have parents that want to keep them placated, and it's like, all right, you can go spend the bucks and get out of my. Well, maybe that's a bad way to say it, but
Get out of my
great
hair.
little one.
Yeah,
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 get
yeah,
out of
yeah.
my hair.
Yep.
hmm
Yeah, I mean, you do
But they've been
have
on
it.
quite the ride.
You do have it kind of trying to flag out here. It popped up,
hmm
whatever. Trying to hold this little flag, going right into earnings. But this is crazy, man. This is, bro. This is crazy. What a run.
Yeah, for real.
What, dude? Like this is 150% run. Nuts, bro.
What's the so my entry is 57.65. That's what I bought.
What? What, dude?
Yeah, I guess it's been a while since I've looked at it, but um yeah, I guess I got a little bit lucky there.
Yeah, yeah. Look at this guy. Meh. You know. Yeah, it's okay. He's probably up. I guess to the closing price, you're up about 105%.
Not too shabby.
Hey, it's
But
pretty
the last one I
solid.
want to talk about it is Norwegian Cruise Lines,
I thought you said this one was your
because
last one.
yeah, I just realized.
I think you did. What's the ticker on that one?
NCLH. Because back in the COVID days,
Back
the
when there
uh,
was
the cruise lines got hit hard, man.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. It was who wants to be on a ship locked up with 1,000 other people getting sick?
Right.
Oh,
And
bro.
I had traded leaps on Carnival and Norwegian Cruise Lines, and I held too long because I had a pretty decent entry on the calls, but because of how long the COVID lockdowns lasted,
Hmm.
time worked against me, and I should have just taken profit and just traded the range that I saw. But it took a long time for some of these charts to come back.
Dude, look at the volume difference though, man. Like on the monthly chart. Like, what's the story with this? Because there's like no volume, and then you get the COVID hit for volume, right? Like,
hmm
but February, dude, it started this big drop in February. Like, this was a
Yeah.
$20 drop in February, and then you have March. Let me go back to like the weekly. Is there like news on this, dude? This was in a waterfall, bro. Oh, they must have missed earnings here.
Mm.
They came in just under earnings. It's
Yeah,
0.736
but it is
yesterday.
funny, like you say, how like the earnings or the volume it's actually visible on your chart, but then prior to that, it's like, where was the volume? Was nobody trading this? Like, what the heck?
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's 6 million volume, 5 million, 10 million, 11 million. Then you get some of these days, dude. 44. What's this? No, 458 million, 483. This is a week, dude. This is a week, and this week right here is 551 million. So this looks like very, very like long term, potentially accumulation.
Yeah, for sure.
Look at
So
this.
that's another one. So Roblox is great for me, but I burned myself on the cruise lines.
Hmm.
But just seeing it on the earnings kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah, this was like the
Yeah.
spot. There was like my eyes are just drawn to it, bro. Gap up here. They filled this
hmm
gap, and they filled that gap, and they ate off of this level here at $11 for months. For months off
Yeah.
that $11. Popped up to
And
22.
what I should have done was just buy shares, frankly, instead of the leaps.
Yeah,
because
but
then it wouldn't have mattered. I would have had a decent price on Carnival Cruise Lines. I probably would have had $10, and then NCLH I would have had. Well, actually, I probably would have been wrecked on that one because of, let's see what the time frame was. Yeah, I probably would have been wrecked on that one, but I mean, you win some, you lose some.
Carnival's the same way, dude, with the volume.
Yeah.
No volume, then all of a sudden, big volume. Same thing.
Hmm.
Like, dude, yo, how was like coronavirus not really a thing until March? Somebody knew, dude, and they were dumping these shares.
Uh, well, I mean, yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
How else do you explain it, right? Like, how else do you explain, like, if I zoom in on this, and maybe somebody watching knows, but you mean to tell me in January this thing was at $51 a share, and then when was this finally? This was mid-March, right? So when did like COVID was like
Well,
really a thing,
yeah.
like beginning of March, right?
So the V recovery was, yeah, the low was March.
Yeah, dude.
March. Yeah.
The volume just started picking up, and then you get this right here. There's your seller exhaustion candle right here, because it just barely wicks under the low, closes back above with massive volume. Yep.
Well, somebody was perhaps ready to start scooping up too. So,
Damn, yeah, somebody did some big scooping, bro.
yep.
Yeah.
All right. You got any other ones you want to talk about? Or you want to wrap it up here?
No, dude, I think Amazon is another interesting one, just really quickly, because Bezos sold all of his shares, so I think he locked up. Well, not locked up,
Oh,
but
all of them?
no,
Oh, okay.
sorry. No, sorry, not all of them. He had like a round of shares that he was trying to sell, so he finished selling all of those shares for like a couple $1 billion.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
hopefully he does something fun with that money. But I mean, this is another one going into earnings and is like drastically approaching all-time highs. And recently, in the past few weeks, there's been a few like tier one analysts, like Goldman Sachs, for example. I think that have given this one an upgrade, so they think that this is going to like 275 plus.
Mm-hmm.
So and I did catch a good calls trade on this one, like swing trade. So we'll see if this one's gonna break all-time highs. And then Meta's another one, right? Who, following the last earnings, just had this absolute ripper. Freaking $175. Broke the all-time highs, has pulled back a little bit, and has been consolidating in here. So, yeah, kind of got this little like downward channel thing going, huh? This little
Yeah.
almost like a. This is the daily. It was probably like a weekly bull flag. Yep. As I say it and switch to the weekly, yep, this is a perfect like weekly bull flag, dude. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and look at this from a technical perspective.
Yeah, that's exactly what I love to see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So we'll see this one. All right. So this one, we'll finish, I think, on this one here. Like, I think this one's definitely got some potential.
I think so. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Sounds good. Well, we'll catch you guys all in the next one. And if you haven't, drop a like and subscribe, huh?
Hell yeah. See you guys.
Bye.